Section 1. The Galactic Council chambers hummed with disdain. Archivist Zill's holographic projection flickered as it recited the final recorded words of humanity. Asterisk, we are leaving. Do not follow. Asterisk, the playback ended, met with derisive clicks from the Krell delegation. Pathetic, hissed High Marshal Vorkith, his scaled fingers drumming on the obsidian table. Asterisk, let them rot in whatever corner they've crawled into. We bled for our dominance. They were barely more than tools. Asterisk, the Veln Collective's emissary pulsed with cold amusement. Asterisk, tools break. The galaxy continues. Asterisk, but the archives told a different story. 50 years ago, human ships had vanished from every trade lane, every battlefield, every mining colony. Not a single shot fired, no grand declaration, just silence. Their stations, stripped to the bulkheads, drifted empty. Their colonies? Gone. Not abandoned. Erased. The only trace, automated beacons repeating a single phrase on encrypted channels. Asterisk, you will call for us. We will not answer. Asterisk, at first, the galaxy celebrated. The Krell seized human shipyards, only for their dreadnoughts to detonate mid-transit. Reactors overloading in perfect synchronization. The Veln scoffed, until their energy grids, built on human-stabilized quantum nodes, began failing. One by one, systems collapsed. A Frick scavenger team breached a derelict human research hub on the edge of the Perseus Veil. Inside, they found no weapons, no treasures, just rows of dead terminals and a single active screen. A child's drawing of a galaxy, labeled in looping human script. Asterisk, we held it together. Asterisk, then the scouring of Trappist. For happened. A Krell armada, occupying a former human colony world, triggered something. The planet's core destabilized, not explosively, but precisely. Gravity twisted, folding the fleet into itself like crushed foil. Survivors babbled about a voice in the static. Asterisk, this was a place of healing. You made it a tomb. Asterisk, the council dismissed it as hysteria. But Archivist Zill's latest report couldn't be ignored. Deep space scans showed anomalies, subspace rifts once dormant, now widening. Human-built stabilizers, it seemed, hadn't just facilitated travel. They'd been containing something. And now, with humanity gone, the galaxy was learning the hard way. The Veln demanded answers. The Krell roared for retribution. But in the silence between their shouts, the truth settled like dust. Humanity hadn't fled. They let go, and the galaxy was beginning to realize it had never been holding itself up. Keynotes for HFY tone asterisk. Show! Don't tell asterisk aliens' arrogance is evident through dialogue and actions. Krell seizing tech, Veln dismissing warnings. Mystery asterisk human motives are unclear. Their capabilities hinted at booby-trap tech, cryptic messages. Consequences asterisk immediate fallout feels deserved. Krell ships exploding, Veln energy failing. Bitter irony asterisk council's mockery contrasts with their dawning horror. Let me know if you like the next section with the same pacing / style. Section 2. The first jump gate collapsed without warning. One moment. The Veln trade nexus at Cygnus, 9 hummed with activity, its shimmering aperture funneling ships between star systems. The next, the structure twisted inward with a scream of rending metal, dragging 17 vessels into oblivion. The disaster wasn't an accident. It was a pattern. Across the galaxy, the infrastructure left behind by humanity began to fail, methodically, relentlessly. The Krell's newly conquered human refueling depots detonated, their plasma conduits overloading in cascading bursts that left entire fleets stranded. The Thrix's agricultural worlds, once dependent on human terraforming algorithms, withered as weather systems destabilized into violent storms. Even the Veln's vaunted quantum communication arrays, built on human design protocols, began transmitting gibberish and then silence. The Galactic Council convened again, this time in panic. Archivist Zill played the last recovered human transmission, this one unearthed from a derelict monitoring station near the edge of known space. A weary voice, stripped of any malice, spoke. Asterisk, you were warned. Containment was never guaranteed. Asterisk, The Krell High Marshal slammed a fist onto the council table. Asterisk, this is sabotage. They left traps. Asterisk, but the Frick scientist, its chitinous limbs trembling, projected a hologram, a schematic of the galaxy's jump gate network. Every critical node, every stabilizer, every failsafe bore human engineering signatures. Not traps, it rasped. Asterisk, they were the foundation, and they took their knowledge with them. Asterisk, a Veln probe dispatched to investigate the Cygnus. 9 disaster returned with haunting footage. The gate's wreckage floated in a perfect geometric formation, its debris arranged into symbols, human numerals, coordinates. When deciphered, they led to a dead system, its star long cold. There, floating in the void, was a single data core. The Council's best cryptographers worked for days to breach its security. When they finally succeeded, the core delivered its message, a recording of a human child's voice, reciting a string of numbers. At first, it seemed meaningless. Then the Veln's lead physicist recognized the sequence, quantum resonance frequencies, the exact calibration required to stabilize a jump gate. Asterisk a gift? Asterisk, the Frick scientist asked. The Veln emissary pulsed darkly. Asterisk, a taunt. They knew we'd come begging. Asterisk, but desperation outweighed pride. The Krell, their fleets grounded, grudgingly applied the formula to their remaining gates. The oscillation steadied. Transit became possible again, for now. Yet the data core had one final surprise. As the scientists prepared to leave, it activated a secondary playback. A human engineer, face obscured by a work helmet, spoke calmly. Asterisk, this is a temporary fix. The system needs constant adjustment. We did that for you. Now you'll have to learn or fall. Asterisk, the message ended. The core dissolved into dust. And across the galaxy, the lights continued to flicker out. Keynotes for HFY tone asterisk. Escalating consequences asterisk failures aren't random. They're systemic, revealing humanity's unseen role. Aliens realization asterisk. They're not dealing with malice, but withdrawal. Humanity's absence is the threat. Bitter irony asterisk. Even the help they find is a lesson in dependence. Mystery deepens asterisk. Who was a child in the recording? Why leave clues at all? Section 3 will escalate the galaxy's frantic search. Let me know if you want adjustments first. Section 3. The Krell warlord's fleet arrived at the coordinates screaming out of warp. Weapons primed, boarding parties coiled tight in their drop pods. They'd spent months tracking the signal, the first confirmed trace of human presence since the Exodus. Their sensors had picked up an energy signature matching human power cores. Faint but unmistakable. The High Marshal himself led the assault, determined to drag answers from these cowards by their teeth if necessary. What they found was a graveyard, not of ships, but of memory. The orbital platform hung silent over a dead world, its smooth human architecture untouched by time or battle. No defenses activated as the Krell warships took position. No warnings blared when the first boarding parties cut through the airlocks. Only stillness greeted them, and light. As the armored Krell warriors fanned out through corridors, the walls came alive with projections. Not threats, not demands. Records. Every screen, every surface displayed the same meticulous documentation. Dates, locations, casualty lists. The Battle of Tarki's Belt, where Krell destroyers glassed a human refugee convoy. The mining outpost on Vegas 7, where indentured human workers had been worked to death. The slave auctions on Zith 3, with Krell overseers bidding on families like livestock. The High Marshal roared, smashing a display with his plasma claw. Enough of these lies. Find the humans. His warriors searched deeper, finding only more archives. Then, in the central chamber, they discovered the only interactive terminal. When activated, it showed a single document, a treaty the Krell had signed with humanity centuries ago, promising mutual protection. The signature lines glowed faintly. The human side was signed. The Krell side remained blank. A voice spoke on the walls, calm and measured. You were given every chance. The platform self-destruct sequence activated with no fanfare, no dramatic countdown. The Krell barely had time to scream warnings before the entire structure folded in on itself in perfect, terrible silence. The warship sensors later confirmed the debris field formed distinct shapes as it drifted. Krell numerals, coordinates. Meanwhile, the Veln made their own discovery. Their energy-based forms flickered uneasily as they floated through the ruins of what had once been a human research facility. Unlike the Krell's violent approach, the Veln had come seeking knowledge, convinced they could replicate humanity's stabilizing technology. They found their answer in a single intact lab, the containment field still held, preserving its contents perfectly, a miniature jump gate prototype, identical to those failing across the galaxy. The control console remained active, displaying a simple equation. The Veln scientists recognized immediately the foundational formula for subspace stabilization. Their excitement died when they noticed the second part of the display, a live feed showing the current state of the galaxy's gates, each flickering failure marked in pulsing red. The equation was updating in real time, variables shifting faster than even Veln cognition could follow. A recorded voice stated simply, the work was never finished, only maintained. The youngest Veln researcher made the connection first. They weren't just stabilizing the gates. They were holding back. The facility's power surged suddenly, all displays switching to a single image, a human hand holding a child's drawing of the Milky Way. Then darkness. When the Veln ships returned home, their scientists refused to speak of what they'd seen. But that night, across Veln space, every communication channel broadcast the same unauthorized transmission for exactly 3.7 seconds, a human lullaby. The Thrix, ever practical, took a different approach. Their deep-range probes had detected anomalous energy readings from a supposedly empty sector. When their survey team arrived, they found no station, no planet, just a single buoy floating in the void. It played a message on loop. You asked why we left. You never asked why we stayed so long. The Thrix commander ordered the buoy brought aboard for study. As soon as it crossed the threshold, every Thrix on the ship experienced the same hallucination, the sensation of being gently held. Medical scans showed no physical effects, but from that moment, the crew refused to approach the artifact. It's not for us, their leader stated simply. Back at the crumbling Galactic Council, Archivist Zill compiled these reports in silence. The patterns were undeniable now. Humanity hadn't just withdrawn, they'd left a testament, a reckoning. As the latest systems collapsed, Zill made a private addition to the official record. They gave us their hands. We gave them our backs. Now the galaxy learns a way to that choice. The lights dimmed. Somewhere, a child asked a question no one could answer. Section 4. The last jump gate failed at 0437 Galactic Standard Time. Not with catastrophic collapse like the others, but with a sigh, a gradual dimming of an event horizon until nothing remained but inert metal. The Veln monitoring station recorded its final energy spike, a perfect replication of the human neural wave pattern associated with melancholy. The Galactic Council no longer convened in person. Species representatives communicated through fractured quantum links as transit became impossible. Archivist Zill's latest report scrolled across their displays, a comprehensive tally of losses. 93% of interstellar infrastructure inoperable. 76% of inhabited systems facing imminent collapse. 0 successful attempts to replicate human stabilization technology. The Krell High Marshal's transmission crackled through the interference. There must be surviving human colonies. We demand. A Veln scientist interrupted, its luminous form flickering. You demand nothing. We scanned every system. They're gone. Truly gone. Then the signal came. It pierced through every active communication channel simultaneously, bypassing all encryptions. Not a voice, but a presence, a data packet, so vast it threatened to overload entire networks. When decrypted, it revealed a single set of coordinates and a time index. The Thrix were the first to arrive, their organic ships least affected by the failing technology. What they found defied all expectations. A perfect sphere of space-time, untouched by the galaxy's decay. At its center, Earth, not the Earth of historical records, bustling with cities and ships. This was Earth preserved at the moment of humanity's departure, suspended in an amber of distorted time. The Thrix vessels could approach but not enter. Their sensors showed the planet's surface frozen mid-motion, birds halted in flight, waves cresting but never breaking. As other species' ships limped into the system, a second transmission activated. This time, it was visual, a human figure standing on what appeared to be a museum steps. Its features blurred at the edges, as if slightly out of phase with reality. "You search for weapons," it said, voice carrying the weight of centuries. "You found lessons instead." The projection gestured, and every ship's display filled with data, the complete schematics of Project Babel, the quantum stabilization network humanity had built and maintained. But there was more. Medical breakthroughs shared freely, agricultural revolutions left unpatented. Cultural archives offered without restriction. The Krell ships opened fire. Their plasma charges dissipated harmlessly against the time barrier. The human projection didn't flinch. Violence was always your first language. It was never ours. One by one, the alien ship systems began displaying the same image, a human hand extended, then withdrawing. The message repeated across every screen in every language simultaneously. Asterisk, we gave you the stars. You made them battlefields. Asterisk, asterisk, we gave you peace. You called it weakness. Asterisk, asterisk, we gave you time. You squandered it. Asterisk, the Veln scientists made the final connection. The collapse isn't punishment. It's consequence. The natural state of things without their intervention. As if in response, the projection shifted. The museum behind it became transparent, revealing endless halls containing artifacts from every civilization, each labeled not with warnings, but with explanations of their beauty and purpose. "The gift remains," the human said. "The knowledge, the art, the memory of what was possible. When you're ready to build rather than take, it will be here." Then Earth shimmered, not disappearing, but receding somehow, becoming both present and impossibly distant. The alien ships drifted in silence. On the Krell flagship, the High Marshal stared at his claws. On the Veln vessel, scientists traced human equations in the air. The Thrix simply watched, their compound eyes reflecting starlight. Somewhere in the dark, a child's drawing of the galaxy turned slowly in zero gravity, its edges just beginning to yellow with age. The last lights went out. The lesson remained.